Jesus walking on water is not about breaking the laws of gravity. It is a picture of what happens inside your nervous system when life turns into a storm. You were told this story proves Jesus can bend physics out there. I want you to see that it is describing what happens in your chest, in your breath, in the hidden inner temple of your own body. This is not a children's story. This is your story. We are in Matthew chapter 14, verse 22 to 33. On the surface it looks simple, a boat in the middle of the sea, a violent wind, Jesus walking on the water, Peter stepping out, sinking, being caught, and finally the wind stopping. But when you bring that whole scene inside, it stops being a test of how hard you can believe, and it becomes a diagram of what happens to you when fear hits and your inner system overloads. Look at the details Matthew gives. The disciples are in the middle of the sea, far from land. The wind is against them. The waves are beating the boat. It is the fourth watch of the night, somewhere between 3 and 6 in the morning, that hour when your body is tired, your defenses are low, and a small problem feels like the end of the world. That is where this story lives. Not on a calm blue lake, but in that part of you that knows what it is to be awake in the dark with your thoughts crashing like waves. Into that darkness Jesus comes, walking on the sea, not swimming, not struggling, simply walking on top of the very thing that threatens to swallow them. In Job 9 it says that God treads on the waves of the sea. The sea in Scripture is never just pretty water. It is chaos, the untamable deep. So when Matthew shows you Jesus walking on the water, he is already telling you, this is the image of a state of consciousness, a presence that stands above the chaos you drown in. Now pull the whole scene into your inner temple. The boat is your current sense of me, your life, your identity, your coping strategies, everything you have built to stay afloat. The sea is the swirling field of emotion, fear, and circumstance around you and within you. The wind is every piece of bad news, every memory, every what if slamming into your mind. Your nervous system is the hidden ocean where all of this registers as tightness in the chest, a clenched jaw, shallow breathing, racing thoughts. On the outside, you may look fine. On the inside, the waves are already higher than your boat. Here is the question this passage raises. What happens in you when a different state steps into that storm? When the Christ within, the "It is I, do not be afraid" of Matthew chapter 14 verse 27, stands on top of those inner waves instead of being swallowed by them. And why does Peter, the one who actually steps over the side, walk perfectly well for a moment and then sink at one exact second? Did the water change, or did something shift in his attention, in his inner posture, in his own nervous system? There is another detail you cannot ignore. In this story, Jesus does not calm the storm first. He calls a human being into it. He invites Peter into the same wind and waves that terrified him 1 minute earlier. That alone tells you this is not just a spectacle. It is a demonstration of what it looks like when human consciousness tries to stand in the same state as Christ, above the waves, in the middle of the same circumstances, in the same body. So as we walk into this story, I want you to hold 3 questions open inside you. What does Peter's first step onto the water reveal about your own capacity when your attention is fixed on the center? What actually changes in him the moment he sees the wind and begins to sink? And what really happens in your chest, in your breath, in your nerves when you cry, "Lord, save me," and that presence steps into your boat and the inner wind begins to change? Before we look any further at Peter, we have to see the stage he is standing on. If you do not understand the mountain, the boat, and the sea as parts of your own inner temple, you will keep this story far away from yourself, as if it happened to other people in another age. Matthew is not just giving you geography. He is drawing the layout of your inner world. Matthew 14 says that Jesus made the disciples get into the boat and go ahead of him to the other side. He sends the crowds away. Then he goes up on the mountain by himself to pray. Evening comes, he is there alone, and the boat is already far from land, beaten by the waves, because the wind is against it. It is the fourth watch of the night. That is the entire diagram in a few lines. Bring the mountain inside first. The mountain is not just a hill in Israel, it is the high place of your own consciousness. It is the inner upper room where the noise drops, where you step away from the crowd of thoughts and demands. Jesus alone on the mountain is a picture of the Christ state at rest in that highest chamber of your inner temple. No panic, no rowing, no performing, just stillness above the storm you have not even noticed yet. Now look at the boat. The disciples are no longer on solid ground. They are somewhere between where they started and where they are going, carried by a small wooden vessel that suddenly feels fragile. That boat is your current sense of me, your roles, your story, your coping structures, the way you keep yourself together. It is not evil, but it is limited. It creaks when pressure hits it. It can be swamped. Beneath them is the sea. In Scripture, the sea is rarely neutral. In Job chapter 9, verse 8, God treads upon the waves of the sea. In the Psalms, roaring waters stand for chaos and threat. Inside you, that sea is the deep field of emotion, memory, and the unknown future. It is everything you cannot control by willpower. When you feel like the ground under your life has turned to water, you are standing in that inner sea. Then Matthew adds the wind. It is against them, and the waves are beating the boat. That is what your nervous system feels when life pushes from every direction. You row and stay in the same place. You think harder, and your thoughts get louder. Your chest tightens, your breath shortens, your shoulders lift toward your ears. Nothing has sunk yet, but all your inner energy is being spent just to keep the boat pointing forward, and the time matters. The fourth watch of the night is roughly 3 to 6 in the morning. Many of you know that watch very well. It is when you wake up with a racing heart, when small worries feel like massive waves, when your usual defenses are thin and your inner boat feels tiny on a black ocean. Matthew is not just telling you the hour, he is telling you the state, the weakest point in your inner cycle. So this is the map: an inner mountain of stillness, a fragile boat of identity, a deep sea of chaos, a headwind of pressure, and a dark hour when you feel least able to handle any of it. Onto that map, a figure will soon step, walking on the sea. One voice will speak. One man in the boat will answer. The real question now is, in this inner diagram, who is Peter in you, and what part of your own being climbs over the side when it hears a single word, come? Now we move into the moment everyone remembers but almost no one really sees, the exact second Peter begins to sink. If you understand what changes in him, you will recognize the hinge where you yourself drop from a steady state into inner collapse. Matthew 14 says Peter answers Jesus, "Lord, if it is you, command me to come to you on the water." Jesus replies with one word, "Come." Peter climbs out of the boat and actually walks on the water to go to Jesus. Do not rush past that. The wind is still against them. The waves are still beating the boat. Nothing in the external conditions has changed, yet a human being in an ordinary body is now standing where Christ stands above the waves in the middle of the same storm. That is Scripture's picture of what is possible when your attention is fixed on the center. For those first steps, Peter is moving on one thing only, the word he heard. He is not checking the forecast. He is not measuring wave height. His inner reference point is not the storm. It is the one who called him. This is what faith looks like from the inside. Not a tense effort to believe, but a willingness to move with your eyes on the presence instead of on the statistics. When you have ever felt a deep peace in the middle of bad news or a strength you could not explain in a hard moment, you have already tasted those first steps. You were not walking on circumstances. You were walking on a word. Then Matthew gives the hinge in one line. But when he saw the wind, he was afraid, and beginning to sink, he cried out, "Lord, save me!" The wind was there the whole time. What changes is that Peter sees it. His attention, which had been locked on Jesus, swings back to the storm. In that instant, his mind runs a new calculation. Look at those waves. Listen to that wind. Look at me out here with nothing under my feet. Fear fills the space that used to be filled by the call. Later Jesus will say, "O you of little faith, why did you doubt?" The phrase little faith in Matthew does not mean zero faith. It means a capacity that is not yet strong under pressure. And the word for doubt carries the sense of being of two minds, pulled between two poles. Peter is now split between two realities, the word come and the data from the storm. He is no longer single-eyed. That inner split shows up in his body. He begins to sink. Your nervous system knows that moment very well. You decide to trust. You genuinely feel a stillness for a few minutes. Then a phrase, a number, a memory, a notification hits you. You see the wind. Your chest tightens. Your breath climbs into your throat. Your thoughts scatter into worst-case scenes. Outside, nothing has changed yet, but inside, you are beginning to sink. The outer sea is the same. Your focus is not. It is important that Matthew says, beginning to sink. This is not a trapdoor. It is a slide. Every time you move from anchored to overwhelmed, you pass through that in-between space where your attention is half on Christ and half on the waves. That is where little faith lives, not as the absence of God, but as an inner capacity that has not yet learned to stay with Him when the wind gets loud. In that half-drowned state, Peter does the one thing that actually belongs to faith. He does not try to fix himself. He does not turn this into a performance problem. From inside the cold water he cries, "Lord, save me!" He reaches again for the very presence he just looked away from. And Matthew says, immediately Jesus stretched out his hand and caught him. In the next movement we will stay with that hand, because that is where the story becomes a picture of what it looks like when a stronger rhythm reaches into your storming chest and starts to change the inner weather from the inside out. We've paused at the moment Peter cries, "Lord, save me!" Now we follow what happens in the very next heartbeat, because this is where the story steps directly into your chest. Matthew says, immediately Jesus stretched out his hand and caught him. The storm does not stop immediately, but the contact does. First the cry, then the hand, then they step into the boat, and only then does the wind cease. That order is not random. It is the pattern of how an overloaded inner system begins to shift. Think of what your body is doing when you begin to sink. You have seen the wind. Your thoughts are racing into worst-case scenes. Your heart is pounding. Your breath is shallow and high. Your muscles are braced. On the outside, you may still be standing in the room, nodding, driving, answering emails. Inside, you are already under the surface. That is the place where Peter's three-word prayer lives. Not as a religious slogan, but as the one honest line your nervous system can still form. Lord, save me. Scripture says Jesus moves immediately. Feel that as an inner picture. A steadier rhythm reaches into a chaotic rhythm. A deeper calm makes contact with a body that is shaking. We are not turning the gospel into a medical chart, but you know this experience. The moment in the middle of fear when something you did not manufacture arrives. A verse rises. A strange quiet settles on you for a few minutes. A sense of held appears, even though nothing outside has changed yet. That is the hand. Then Matthew moves quickly. They get into the boat, and the wind ceases. The one who stood on the sea is now inside the vessel, and Peter is with him. Brought inside, that means the Christ state does not stay as an ideal out on the water for you to admire. It steps into the actual vessel of your life and body. Jesus in the boat is Christ in your nervous system, not just Christ in your theology. The sea is still there. The night is still night. But the atmosphere changes. The howling that owned you a moment ago quiets. Your breathing deepens. Your thoughts lose some of their command. Those in the boat worship and say, "Truly, you are the Son of God." Inside you, that worship is the shift from "I failed again" to "I was caught again." It is the realization that your sinking did not drive him away. It became the place where he grabbed you. In the final movement, we will talk about how to meet your next storm with this map already inside you, so that when the fourth watch comes, you know how to turn your gaze, how to cry out, and how to let the one who walks on your sea climb into your small boat and stay there. Now bring all of this back to you. Not the you sitting calmly watching a video, but the you who will be in your next storm. The you who will wake in your own fourth watch, feel the waves in your chest, and wonder if you are about to go under again. Matthew 14 is not on the page, so you can admire Peter's short walk. It is there so you can recognize your own pattern and learn to walk again while the wind is still blowing. First, shift how you see yourself in this story. Peter's collapse is not a surprise plot twist. It is built into the scene. Jesus knows exactly who he is calling when he says, "Come." He knows Peter's swings, his impulsiveness, his tendency to start strong and wobble. Yet he still invites him out of the boat. That means your history of stepping out and sinking is not a reason God keeps you inside. The pattern of walk, waver, sink, cry, hand, calm, that is the curriculum. So instead of telling yourself, "I failed again," start to say, "I know this chapter." When you feel that familiar shift from peace to panic, remember the wording, "when he saw the wind beginning to sink." Your nervous system is doing what Peter's legs did. You are moving from eyes on Christ to eyes on waves. That recognition alone is powerful. It means you are not lost in a random nightmare. You are standing inside a story God has already mapped. Then bring in a simple practice, not a heavy program. One is the wind check. When something hits you, a message, a bill, a tone of voice, pause for a few seconds and ask, "Where is the wind right now?" Notice one place in your body that feels stormy: chest, throat, belly. You are not trying to fix it. You are just naming that you are in the boat and the wind is against you. Then quietly let one line from the passage rise. "Take courage, it is I. Do not be afraid." Let that phrase stand on the water in front of you while you breathe. Another practice is Peter's three-word prayer tied to your breath. When you catch yourself beginning to sink, gently place a hand on your chest if you can. On the in-breath, "Lord." On the out-breath, "Save me." Do this for a few breaths. You are not reciting magic words. You are reaching for the hand instead of disappearing into your own thoughts. You are letting the cry rise from the place that is actually drowning, not the place that knows how to perform. Over time, you begin to see a quiet change. You still feel the waves. You still have nights where the wind is loud, but you recognize the hinge sooner. You turn your gaze back sooner. You notice the hand more quickly. And after enough storms, your worship starts to sound like theirs in verse 33, not, "I finally did it," but, "Truly, you are the Son of God. The one who keeps stepping onto my sea, calling me out, catching me, and sitting down in my small boat until the wind learns a new sound." This story will not remove storms from your life. It will teach you where to look when they rise, what your sinking really is, and how near the hand already is to your chest. And as you sit with it, you will start to notice something else. This is not the only time Scripture shows a boat, a storm, and a voice above the waves. There is another night, another sea, another shout into the wind. And once you know this pattern inside you, you will be ready to hear what that other storm is really saying about the power already living within your inner temple.